Today, we're going to talk about a strategy to make your writing more interesting, and that is called the personal thesaurus revision strategy. So, let's get started first with understanding what a thesaurus is. It's a book of synonyms, really, a list of words that mean close to the same thing as the original word that you used, and you're looking for something more interesting, a different way to say it. That's what a thesaurus is. It's a resource to find more interesting way to say things. Here's the thing though, if you start using a book of synonyms, a thesaurus, to try to make your writing more interesting, the chances are you're going to lose your voice. It's not going to sound like you anymore. So, this strategy is a way to use your own brain and your own words to make your own thesaurus that fits a specific writing piece. So, the first thing to do is make sure you have written what you want to revise. Here's an example. Here's what I wrote. I said, I will never forget the time when I first met my baby brother. My mom walked through the front door carrying a little bundle all wrapped in a blue blanket. She brought him to the couch and I sat slowly next to me. I looked down and saw dark blue eyes, a small nose, and little hands reaching out. I felt overwhelmed by how small he seemed. I knew then that I would try to be the most amazing big sister ever. That's my original writing. I want to make it better. So, step one, I go back through and highlight, as you can see, the words that are basic, overused, not specific, words that I know are just kind of boring that I could make better. So, I have walked, little, slowly, looked, small, there's little again, and there's small again. So, see, I just actually overused some words too. I have my list. I write them down so that I can start making my own list for each word. So I have walked, little or small, because they mean about the same thing, slowly, and looked. Those are the words I'm going to focus on that I'm not happy about. I want to improve and find better word choices. Then, once you have your columns of words that you want to replace, brainstorm. That's when you become your own thesaurus. You know what you just wrote about, you know what connotations you're looking for that specific um, writing piece. So, with that in mind, I went through, I know I'm writing about something small and delicate and gentle. So, when I say walked, I'm looking for words that fit that tone, eased, tiptoed. When I'm looking at little and small, I'm thinking about a baby, so I'm thinking tiny. Delicate. Delicate doesn't really mean small, but I think it might fit here. So I'm going to go ahead and go with it. It has the same feeling and can be used, I think. So I'm putting it there. Teensy. Fragile. Fragile and delicate mean very much the same thing, but they might come into play here. So I'm just putting them down. You don't have to use every word you put on the list, but have them in your pocket to pull out just in case they might work. For slowly, I use tentatively, gingerly. And instead of just looking at him, I gazed, I peered. So now I have taken the time to deliberately think about some of those words that are just boring and not having presenting the tone I want to present. I've got those words now ready to go, so I'm going to plug them in. Step four, look at how it reads now using the words that I brainstormed on my own. I will never forget the time when I first met my baby brother. My mom eased through the front door carrying a tiny bundle, all wrapped in a blue blanket. She brought him to the couch and sat gingerly next to me. I peered down and saw dark blue eyes, a delicate nose, and teensy hands reaching out. I felt overwhelmed by how fragile he seemed. I knew then that I would try to be the most amazing big sister ever. Do you see how that changes things? It's gone from just a story to more like a moment because I made my word choice more interesting and picked words that have the connotations that fit the tone of the writing. It now says more that I want it to say. It tells a story. So, just to recap, the first thing you do is find those boring words, highlight them, make them into a list, write them in a row, step 2. Then in that row, start brainstorming interesting words that mean about the same thing. Make a row and a list for each boring word. And then once you have your list, go back and plug in and put those new words in. Then read it to yourself and see, does it mean the same thing? Is it better? Or did it change the meaning? If it did, then maybe you want to rethink your word choice. Good luck. I hope this revision strategy is helpful. Please put it to good use and make your writing interesting.